Hello friends, welcome to yet another audio on UGC NET JRF English from Classics Audio. Today we are going to deal with the tales in the Canterbury Tales written by Geoffrey Chaucer. I know it is not easy to memorize the characters and the respective tales in detail along with the prologues and epilogues to certain stories. But we can't skip these portions either. So in today's audio, we are attempting to summarize Canterbury Tales in a table format, where at the end you will get all important details regarding the summaries, speaker, verse form, and also about prologues and epilogues attached to certain stories, wholly in an exam point of view. Meanwhile, we have already uploaded a video on the general plan, structure and characters in Canterbury Tales which can be accessed from the I button above. It is the best to listen to that audio prior to this one if you haven't yet. So for better experience, please turn on the captions for this audio. Without wasting much time, let's get started. Let me begin from the first tale told by the knight. So the knight's tale is obviously a romance written in the verse form called iambic pentameter. It is one of the most popular verse forms where we have a line of verse with 5 metrical feet each consisting of one unstressed syllable, that is a short syllable, followed by a stressed syllable, that is a long syllable. So now let's get into the major characters in the tale told by the knight. We have 2 young knights, Palamon and Arcite, and a lady called Emily. So while living as prisoners, one day these knights, Palamon and Arcite, met Emily and fell in love with her. So both of them instantly fell in love with Emily. At the end, Arcite dies and Palamon wins the hand of Emily. When the knight concludes his tale, everybody approves it and considers it as a noble story worth remembering. The host then jovially calls upon the monk to tell a tale that would surpass the knight's tale. However, the miller, another character who is very drunk, protests that he has a splendid tale for the occasion and one that can match the knight's tale. But the host, seeing that the miller is drunk, tries in vain to discourage him. So we have the next tale told by the miller. The miller's tale is about a carpenter at Oxford who was rich, and to make extra money, the carpenter rented a room in his house to a poor student, another carpenter, Nicholas. This carpenter John had recently wedded a wife called Alison, only 18 years old, whom he protected fiercely. But at the end, this carpenter called John was deceived by his wife and this poor man called Nicholas. The company of pilgrims laughs at the story of Nicholas and Alison, which the miller has narrated. Only the reeve, another pilgrim, is angry because he was a carpenter like John. So now we have the host calling this reeve to narrate his story. So now we have the reeve's tale as the next tale of Canterbury Tales. The reeve narrates the story of a miller who lives near Cambridge. And what happens to this miller? This miller is deceived again by his clerks, John and Alien. So again the story of a treachery. So we have a miller and the miller's name is Simpkin. A miller called Simpkin deceived by his own clerks, John and Alien. The reeve's tale was again a farce written in rhyming couplets. The Miller's Tale was also a farce written in iambic pentameter. Now let's get into the most important tale as far as the Canterbury Tales is concerned. That is the tale by Wife of Bath. So before getting to the details of the prologue and the tale by Wife of Bath, if you feel this information helpful in boosting your preparation for UGC NET JRF exam, then please subscribe this channel, hit on the bell icon near to it, and also select the all option to get notified of the future uploads. The Wife of Bath begins her lengthy prologue by announcing that she has always followed the rule of experience rather than authority. Having already had 5 husbands at the church door, she has experience enough to make her an expert. She sees nothing wrong with having had 5 husbands and cannot understand Jesus' rebuke to the woman at the well who also had 5 husbands. Instead, she prefers the biblical command to go forth and multiply. She has been married 5 times and is already waiting for her 6th husband. The first 3 were old and rich. They died after she could gain mastery over them. Her 4th husband was young, but he had a mistress. Jankin was her 5th and most favorite husband. Once, when Jankin was reading aloud from his book of wicked wives, she tore a page from his book and he knocked her down so hard that she was still deaf from it. So this is how Wife of Bath became partially deaf. She pretended to be dying, and when he leaned over and asked for forgiveness, she knocked him into the fireplace. They made up and he gave her full control of sovereignty. The Wife of Bath uses the prologue to explain the basis of her theories about experiences versus realities, or authority, to introduce the point that she illustrates in her tale. The thing women most desire is complete control or sovereignty over their husbands. This is according to Wife of Bath, right? Because she has had 5 husbands. The Wife of Bath feels that she can speak with authority from this experience, and in the prologue, she tells how she got the upper hand with each of her husbands. So, this is the general prologue to the tale by Wife of Bath. So, we have glimpses to the life of Wife of Bath, and now let's get into the tale by Wife of Bath. Here in the tale, it is written in iambic pentameter and it is an Arthurian romance. In the tale, we have a young lusty knight. He rapes a beautiful maiden and is sentenced to death by the king. Then the queen interrupts on his behalf, on this lusty king's behalf, and gives him a chance to save his life. So what is the chance? If this knight can find out what is that women desires the most, then he can save his life, or queen will save his life. The answer to this question is sovereignty. So we have to remember that in the tale by Wife of Bath, she raises a question, or it consists of a question. What is that woman favors the most? And the answer is nothing but sovereignty. Now we have the next tale told by the clerk. It is a folk tale or a moral tale written in the verse form called Rhyme Royal. And it is about Walter. The name of the character is Walter, a Marquis of Saluzzo in Italy, who is asked by his subjects to marry in order to provide and hire. He decides to marry a peasant named Griselda. After marriage, he tests her loyalty and she turns successful. So this is a story of love, marriage and loyalty between Walter and Griselda. Okay, now let's move to the next tale. That is a tale told by the Franklin, and it is a Breton lay written in iambic pentameter. The Franklin's tale is also about a marriage of the Breton knight Arvigarus and Dorigen, and the story proves that mastery has no place in love. Following the Franklin's tale, we have the partner's tale. That is also a moral tale written in iambic pentameter, and it tells about three drunken and debauched men who set out to find and kill death. Okay. On their way, they find a large amount of gold coins and forget about their quest to kill death. Consumed by greed, all of them kill each other. So, what they wanted to perform? To kill death. In the pursuit, meanwhile, they kill each other. Now we have the Prioress Tale. And Prioress Tale is about the miracle of the Virgin. That is a subset of medieval saint legend. As we have discussed Anglo-Norman hagiography of saint's life, we have elaborately talked of this form of writing. So you can listen to that audio for details. So Prioress Tale is an example to this saint's life, and it narrates the story of the miracle of the Virgin, and it is written in rhyme royal. In a Jewish ghetto, a 7-year-old boy sings a hymn to the Virgin. Jews, offended by his singing in their ghetto, kill him and hide the body in a latrine. The boy continues to sing even after death and is ultimately resorted to heaven. Now we have the Nun's Priest Tale. Nun's Priest Tale is a mock heroic beast fable, again written in iambic pentameter. It is about a rooster. So the protagonist is an animal, or a rooster, okay, a bird rather. Now, the name of the rooster is Chondisila and his wife Pertolate. So we have the rooster and his wife. We have their story as narrated by the nun's priest. Last but not the least, we have the monk's tale, and it is a tragedy. Okay. This tale is written in stanza form. That is 84 stressed lines rhyming AB, AB, BC, BC. So this verse has got a typical rhyming scheme. That is AB, AB, BC, BC. Written in stanza form. Okay. 8-4 stressed lines with 8-4 stressed lines. And it is a collection of tragedies. The Monk's Tale is a collection of tragedies designed to advise men not to trust in blind prosperity, but to be aware that fortune is fickle and ever changing. Hope you got an overview of the major tales in Canterbury Tales. So it is, as I've already said, it is very hard to memorize each tales in detail. So in this audio we have gone through major tales, major speakers, verse form, and the major incidents, including the characters in those tales. I hope you get it. So please subscribe our channel for more audios. Please share your comments about our classes in the comment box. You can either like or share the video if you find it useful. So let's meet in another video. Till then, stay happy, stay safe. Thank you.